Hi, this is Dr. Gregory Sadler. I'm a professor of philosophy and the president and founder of an educational consulting company called Reason.io, where we put philosophy into practice. I've studied and taught philosophy for over 20 years, and I find that many people run into difficulties reading classic philosophical texts. Sometimes it's the way things are said or how the text is structured. But the concepts themselves are not always that complicated, and that's where I come in. To help students and lifelong learners, I've been producing longer lecture videos and posting them to YouTube. Many viewers say they find them useful. What you're currently watching is part of a new series of shorter videos, each of them focused on one core concept from an important philosophical text. I hope you find it useful as well. Question 27 of Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologiae Prima Secundae is focused on the causes of love, and Article 1 is going to give us the most general idea or characterization of this. Love is ultimately for the good. It is directed to, it is caused by something being at least perceived as good. And we're going to see that Article 2 and 3 are going to talk about, specific sorts of good things. We have knowledge and likeness as important causes, and we're going to look at those separately. But Article 4 is actually going to be quite germane to this because it's asking the question, is love actually caused by any of the other human passions of the soul, which presumably are directed towards some good or responding to some good. So maybe there would be some causes for love that, are perhaps in a certain way good, but not the good as such. So Article 1 begins, as usual, with some objections, some possible counter-arguments. And these fall into two, we could say, groupings. The first two of them have to do with the opposite of good, evil, malum. And, they point out some important features of what it is that we human beings do, in fact, love. And then the third one has to do with a different modality, we might say, the beautiful. So we don't just love the good, we also love things that are beautiful. So let's look at the first two. It would seem that good is not the only cause of love. Why? Because good does not cause love except because it is loved, but it happens that evil is also loved. According to Psalm 10, he that loveth iniquity hateth his own soul. So this means that not every single love is directed to or caused by the good. As a matter of fact, some things are actually caused by evil. People get these things wrong all the time. People love evil things, including doing evil. So that's a possible objection. And then we have another one that's a little bit more specific. We love people who acknowledge, and even more, who lament and resolve to abandon the evil that they've done, right? So we are, in a certain respect, loving evil in that respect, aren't we? And he says, therefore, it seems that evil could be the cause of love. If they didn't do something wrong, well, then they couldn't acknowledge it, and we wouldn't have that love that we do for the people that acknowledge it. So those are the ones that have to do with evil. And then we have the beautiful, and he says that Dionysius, in the commentary on the divine name, says that not only the good, but also the beautiful is beloved by all. And that by all is pretty important here. So it's not just that the beautiful is sometimes loved by some people. He's saying that Pseudo-Dionysius is claiming that the good is loved by all, but so is the beautiful. And the beautiful and the good aren't exactly the same thing, so good is not the only cause of love in that case. So Thomas, as usual, is going to provide his own take. Here he's going back to some previous discussions just earlier. The love as a thing within us belongs to the appetite of power. So the appetite of power includes both the sensitive appetite, the concupiscible appetite specifically, that's love as a passion, and then the will, the intellectual appetite, where love is more of an act in that case. So no matter what, because it's an appetite of power, it is going to be to some degree passive, as Thomas says. So it's the object of this thing that causes a movement, a change, or an act. So what does that mean? The object stands in relation to the thing as the cause of this. So the cause of love must be love's object. Now, what is the cause of love, or what is love's object in this case? The proper object of love, Thomas says, is the good. Why? Because love implies a certain connaturalness, connaturality, right? Or a complacency of the lover for the thing beloved, and to everything that thing is a good, which is, as he's going to say, akin and proportionate to it, or connatural to it, right? So what does that mean? Well, then, love is indeed caused by the good, because the object of love is the good, the cause is the object, therefore it must be the cause. So how can we deal then with these problems of seemingly loving evil? Thomas doesn't say that people don't love evil, but the evil is always being loved under the aspect of good. So he says that it's loved insofar as it's good in some respect and is considered as being good simply. So when people love something that is evil, there is a goodness there, but they are mistaking the partial or specified or qualified goodness with goodness overall. And so a certain love becomes evil in that it tends to that which is not a true good. So this is how a person can love iniquity or evilness, right? By that means of that iniquity, some good is gained, like pleasure or money or something like that. What about people who acknowledge their evil? Why do we love them? Well, we're not loving them because of their evil. We're loving them because they're leaving their evil behind, or at least trying to do so. And he says that it's a good thing to acknowledge one's faults. We love that part, insofar as it excludes insincerity or hypocrisy. So those are pretty easily dealt with. What about beauty? Does this present a problem? So not for Thomas, because Thomas says the beautiful is not something different. It's actually the same as the good, but it differs only in what's being translated as aspect, ratione, in the way that we look at it and understand it. So he says good is what all seek. The notion of good is what calms the desire. The notion of beautiful is that which calms the desire by being seen or known. So he goes into a discussion about the senses, and he says that beauty adds to goodness a relation to the cognitive faculty, so that the faculty of knowing something. Good means that which simply pleases the appetite. The beautiful is something that pleases the appetite and gives us pleasure in apprehending it. So it's ultimately the same thing, but we look at it in a different way. So that's a satisfactory answer to that. Jumping ahead to Article 4, we have some plausible arguments that could be made in favor of some other passion being the cause of love. And there's three that Thomas is going to bring up, the three best contenders. What are they? So he says, some people, this is coming from Aristotle, are loved for the sake of the pleasure that they give. right? So this is the friendship of pleasure, or other arrangements when we love somebody who, for example, says nice things about us. Pleasure, however, is a passion, so that means that pleasure is causing the love that we feel to the one who gives us pleasure. Okay, we might even say this about things as well. Desire as well. He says that desire is a passion. We love some because we desire to receive something from them. Every friendship based on usefulness is like that. If I like somebody or love them because they do yard work that otherwise I would have to do on a Saturday, so I get to sleep in, I'm like, oh man, I love you for cutting my grass. Well, there's a kind of desire there. I want them to do something for me. So desire could be a cause of love. And then he talks about hope. And here he brings up Augustine. When we have no hope of getting a thing, we love it half-heartedly or not at all, even if we see how beautiful it is. So hope is also a cause of love. Three positive emotions causing another positive emotion. Seems kind of plausible, doesn't it? Thomas is going to say, well, no, not exactly. Every passion of the human soul, whether negative or positive, according to Thomas Aquinas, has its ultimate origin, its cause, in some kind of love. So it's aliquas, the qualifier there, some sort, some type of love that we feel for something. So he says that the reason is every other passion of the soul implies movement towards something or rest in something. Every movement towards something or rest in something arises from, notice he's using the same sort of language here, some sort of kinship or aptness, connaturalitas or cooptio, right, in this case. So that is what love consists in, at least a certain kind of love, right? And so that's ultimately where the passions are coming from. But Thomas also says, there's plenty of cases where you could indeed have some particular passion being the cause of some particular love, just as one good is the cause of another. So it can't be that any passion is the cause of love in general, but an instance of it. And let me use an example here. I love coffee, good coffee with a bit of half and half in it. So it gives me pleasure, right? And then I'm like, oh man, I love this blend of coffee. Well, there's love for something before that, but then I feel the pleasure, and now I can, start setting myself up for that coffee. Or I can have desire for that coffee. Oh, I'm going to go and get me another bag of that coffee at the local roaster. Or I could have hope. Oh, I hope somebody made coffee this morning, right? And that can lead into those feelings. But I have to already have love, we could say capital L, working in the background for any of these particular instances of I love this kind of coffee to be taking effect. So you got love, then a passion, then love again. The answers to the objections, these different proposals. So when a person loves a thing for the pleasure it affords, his love is indeed caused by pleasure, but that pleasure is caused by another preceding love. Exactly what we said. Desire for a thing always presupposes love for that thing. Okay, so again, love is prior. What about hope? Hope was dealt with a little bit differently. Hope causes or increases love, both by reason of pleasure because it causes pleasure, and by reason of desire because hope strengthens desire. So hope itself is of a good that is loved, and it can contribute to these other two emotions or passions of the soul. But ultimately, it's love that's in the background, and love is for some sort of good. So this is giving us sort of the general framework for how love is caused, but also how love itself is a cause of so much else going on in our psychology.